Oh, what is going on, football fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video. Bit of a slow day today in the news world for the New York Giants. I'll touch on something. It's not the premise of this video, but Evan Neal, in case you have not heard, was practicing with the New York Giants in a limited capacity. What I heard is, what I read, I should say, is that he's not going to be back until the earliest the Thanksgiving game, but it's trending that way. And that'd be really cool to see him to get back against the Cowboys, especially being that that was the game in which he got exposed against Tank Lawrence. It would be cool to see Evan Neal hopefully get another opportunity. May struggle a bit being that it's his first game back, but the sooner we get Neal back on the field, the better. He'd certainly be an upgrade, and we certainly want to see him progress throughout the year. So that was good news. He was listed as limited on the practice report today. Last week was never limited, I believe. I think he was always just completely out. So he's certainly trending towards getting on the football field sooner than later. And if he's not back by Thanksgiving, you have to figure he's probably going to be back the week after that. So can't wait to get Evan Neal back on the football field. But that's not what this video is about at all. This video is going to be about Daniel Jones. This video is going to be about an audio clip that one of my subscribers, Matt, wanted to give him a quick shout out on Twitter, showed me, and then I showed it to you guys on Twitter. But I know a lot of you guys don't have a Twitter that watch my YouTube channel. You may not follow me on Twitter if you do. So I wanted to play the audio clip for you guys here of what Joe Judge had to say to Peter Schrager about your quarterback. Now, apparently somebody else told me on Twitter, this was on another podcast about a week ago. This is the first time I heard it, and apparently it was the first time a lot of people heard it. But you may get fired up, and there's going to be other fans that scoff at it, and there's going to be other fans that are going to say, well, we kind of knew that already. But regardless, you love to hear this about your quarterback from people within the NFL with no reason to say it. Listen, right, you think about Joe Judge, and by the way, I thought he showed great character and, apparently what he had to say when you hear Peter Schrager say it in the way in which he did it. But Joe Judge has no reason to say anything nice about anybody in this organization after the way that he was kicked out of here. And when you hear the story and what he did and how he went out of his way to say nice things about Daniel Jones, it makes you feel good about your quarterback. And the fan base just continues to be so divided on number 8, as Jeffrey Abbey would say. If you follow him on YouTube, he's definitely been a big proponent of getting rid of Daniel Jones since the day we drafted him. Just kidding, Jeffrey. If you watch this video, you probably don't, because you probably no longer watch my channel because I don't destroy Daniel Jones. But if you do, thank you for the support on the channel. But he's just an example. There's several other fans that have wanted Daniel Jones gone since the day he became a New York Giant. That have wanted Daniel Jones gone since before this year started. And I have my theories. And listen, I've tried to be as fair as I possibly can with Daniel Jones. I've tried not to overhype him, and I've tried not to come to a final conclusion on him as a quarterback for the New York Giants. Last year, I'd be lying to you if I thought that he was trending towards being a franchise quarterback. But football is a sport where you're allowed to change your opinion based off the evidence that's presented to you. And while I have not gone as far to say that he is a franchise quarterback quite yet, I have gone as far to say that I guarantee that Daniel Jones is going to be the quarterback in 2023. I've guaranteed it. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But that's how I feel. And on my channel, I'm going to tell you how I feel. And there's a lot of reasons as to why I feel the way that I do. First, let's talk about some of the things that I hear from people, the detractors. And I also want to talk about the type of offense that we run and why people have differing opinions on it, and give my reasoning as to why we run as conservative of an offense that we do. I personally think it has nothing to do with Daniel Jones. Nothing to do with Daniel Jones. I think the Giants believe in Daniel Jones. I really believe that. I think it has to do with the surrounding parts. I think it has to do with the fact that we don't have any wide receiver help. And people will talk about, and they'll show clips that the offensive line is blocked well. And I'm not trying to knock the offensive line. I'm not trying to knock anybody on this team, but I'm trying to analyze why the Giants run the type of offense that they do, because I talk about this a lot, that I think the Giants need to come out with a very similar game plan this week. Not saying that we need to run 47 times past 17. I'd like it to be more, even 50-50, but you're going up against the second worst run defense, right? With the Detroit Lions. You're going up against a team that ranks 28th in time of possession. The Giants have to play to your strengths. And I compared it to Floyd Mayweather today on Twitter. And I'm not a huge boxing guy, but I've watched a lot of Floyd Mayweather fights. Not that I'm comparing the Giants as a team to Mayweather, but our strategy. Mayweather is a defensive fighter. He's a guy that doesn't take chances, a guy that doesn't go over the top of taking risks. And he picks out the weaknesses in his opponent, and he takes advantage of it. That's what the New York Giants have done this year. They've made adjustments. They have not taken more risk than they need to in order to win these football games. It's why they've been as close as they've possibly been. And the only reason they lost a couple of weeks ago is because they had a couple of fumbles. We all know that they don't have a Super Bowl roster. We all know that they're not going to be able to win football games dropping back throwing 40 times. And people talk about the offensive line, and the offensive line's done a decent job, I suppose, in terms of pass protection. But in my opinion, at least, and it's just my opinion, people don't factor in, why do we run so many two tight end sets? Why do you think that is? Because we need help blocking. Why do you think that Saquon Barkley isn't used in the same fashion as a guy like Austin Eckler? Because he needs to stay in to block. You don't think that Brian Dable and Mike Kafka want to use him more as a pass catcher, being that he's the best weapon in this offense? So, yes, are there times where Daniel Jones has a clean pocket? 100%. But in order to provide him that clean pocket in a lot of those circumstances, it limits the New York Giants by, because they can't send out receivers because the line needs more help. So you have two tight ends blocking, you maybe one tight end blocking, but you only have one or two wide receivers going out there and running a route. So it's a very limited offense until such time you could trust your offensive line, and until such time we get premium playmakers. And right now we don't have it. We have a line that's improving. You have to figure by next year Evan Neal's going to be that much better, and I do think we'll spend more resources on the line next year. But some people will tell you no, they're conservative in this offense because of Daniel Jones. If you could watch this team play and you honestly think that the team's best course of action is to drop back 35 to 40 times a game and throw the football, I don't know what to tell you. My theory on it is this. I think that there's still a lot of fans out there that either A, don't believe in Daniel Jones, or B, just hate Daniel Jones and they want him gone no matter what. And they almost would prefer the New York Giants to have him drop back and throw 40 times, knowing in the back of their head that it's not going to work. In my opinion, not because of Daniel Jones, but to see him fail so the team will move on and draft the quarterback. That's my honest opinion on the matter, because this team is not equipped to drop back and throw 40 times like the Kansas City Chiefs do. They're not equipped to drop back and throw 40 times like the Buffalo Bills do. And I'm not telling you that Daniel Jones is Pat Mahomes, but if you, in your heart of hearts, you don't think that Daniel Jones is Pat Mahomes, why would you want us to play like the Kansas City Chiefs? Unless you don't care if the team wins or not. Because if you don't think that Daniel Jones is Pat Mahomes, which I don't either, why would you try to mimic what they do? You're not going to beat the Chiefs playing like the Chiefs. The New York Giants have to identify what they're best at. And what this team is best at is ball control due to a lot of the limitations on this roster. So I want the New York Giants to continue to do this. But for all the people that think that Daniel Jones is gone and we're going to draft the quarterback, I don't know what to tell you at this point. This team is 7-2. The guy's come up with big play after big play in big spots. He hasn't turned the football over. He's done everything that you could ask for. But people talk to, they will point to rather when Tyrod Taylor was with the Buffalo Bills and they made the playoffs. When I think they went 9-7 and they made the playoffs. And they'll say that they were conservative in the offense with that. And that's true. And I could just as easily point to the quarterback that replaced him with Josh Allen. You know what the Buffalo Bills ranked in run frequency with Josh Allen before they got Stephon Diggs in his second year? 7th in the league. They ran 46% of the time, which is probably equivalent to about what the New York Giants are running this year, based off the fact that running is significantly up in the NFL this year. I think we're 4th or 5th in terms of run frequency right now in the National Football League. So they did the same thing with Josh Allen. So if you want to point to this, they did the same thing with Tyrod Taylor, I could say that they did the same thing with Josh Allen. And if you think the New York Giants building a winning culture this year with all the other holes that they have on this team are going to trade up to get a quarterback, I don't know what to tell you, especially after what John Mara said at the beginning of the year, before the year started. John Mara basically came out and said, we failed Daniel Jones. We believe in Daniel Jones. We're going to support Daniel Jones. Joe Schoen and Brian Dable have kind of said the same thing, and he's played well in the team's winning football games. So Daniel Jones, in my opinion, is going to be back. But I think you have a lot of people that are just set in their ways. They're not willing to alter their opinion. They know the guy's not Pat Mahomes. They know he doesn't have that kind of upside. So they just want to move on from him no matter what. And I don't think you're getting your wish, guys. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Daniel Jones is going to be the quarterback, in my opinion, in 2023. But that's my opinion. I could be wrong. But I wanted to play the audio clip regarding what Joe Judge had to say about your quarterback, Daniel Jones, because I liked it. I loved it. It's a quick 40-second clip. And it's coming out on the Peter podcast. Just mute my mic real quick. Still muted. Forgot about that. I just don't want to have the echo when I play the audio clip. So that's what Schrager had to say that Joe Judge told him. So basically what Schrager said was that he talked to Joe Judge privately in a phone conversation recently. It was figure a couple of weeks ago. Actually, no, not recently, when he lost his job. And he reached out to him and he said, anything as a courtesy, anything I could do to try to help, let me know. And Joe Judge immediately called him and he said, didn't even think about himself. First thing he thought about was Daniel Jones. Then he asked him, do you want to crap on Dave Gettleman? Do you want to crap on John Mara? He said, absolutely not. I want you to stop crapping on Daniel Jones. So to me, that speaks to the character of Joe Judge. Not that I'm ever going to talk about Joe Judge on this channel in a video ever again. Obviously, this is just relevant because he's talking about your starting quarterback, Daniel Jones, and he went above and beyond. He talked about how hard the guy works, how tough the guy is, and how bad of a situation he was put in, which is what John Mara said at the beginning of the year. And that situation is starting to get better. And to no surprise, well, as that situation gets better, you're starting to see Daniel Jones play better. And some of the things that I hear from people are, well, it's stable. And I'll go back to what I said in my video a couple of weeks ago when I talked about Jones. Why don't you say that about Dexter Lawrence then? Why don't you say that about Julian Love then? It's stable for everybody. Improved coaching in the NFL improves players. It's common sense. And look at every quarterback in the league. Are we going to fault Pat Mahomes because he has Andy Reid? Andy Reid's the greatest offensive coach of my lifetime, as far as I'm concerned. Are you going to fault Pat Mahomes for that? Are you going to fault Matt Stafford last year because he had Sean McVay? Are you going to fault Aaron Rodgers because he won 2 MVPs when he got a new offensive coordinator with Matt LaFleur? You name a quarterback, if they're very successful, they're usually going to have very good coaching. So I'm not going to fault Daniel Jones for that. For me, it's Jones is finally starting to get some of the help that he needed, and he's not even close to having the help. You know, I've seen other fans talk about, well, now that he has some help, he's playing okay, he's a game manager. He doesn't even have near the help that these other quarterbacks have. He's got nobody to throw to. Nobody. And he can't even use Saquon Barkley in the method that I think the New York Giants want to use him to his full capacity, because Barkley has to stay in and block because they can't trust their offensive line yet. Imagine what this team will look like and what Jones will look like in terms of further improvements if you add him a Tyreek Hill, if you add him a Jalen Waddle. I just want one of those guys. I don't need 2 of them. And you improve this offensive line and Evan Neal grows. So I think there's a lot more room for growth for Jones. I think there's a lot more room for growth for this entire offense as this team improves going into next year. Now, I'm not telling you that I could say for certain that Daniel Jones is going to get a 5-year contract extension, but I am telling you I'm like 95% sure Daniel Jones is coming back next year. Now, is it possible they draft a 2nd or 3rd round quarterback? Anything's possible. I mean, the San Francisco 49ers drafted a 2nd round quarterback with Kaepernick after Alex Smith brought him to the NFC title game. But I think it's a different circumstance. That's just my honest opinion on the matter. Alex Smith, to me, did not have the upside that Daniel Jones did. And Alex Smith had a far superior supporting cast. Alex Smith had arguably the best pass-catching tight end in football that year with Vernon Davis. He had Michael Crabtree, who is leaps and bounds better than any other wide receiver on this roster. He had the best defense in the entire National Football League that year with the San Francisco 49ers, which obviously helps assist the offense. So they saw the limitations with Smith. I personally don't think Daniel Jones is as limited in terms of his ceiling as a guy like Alex Smith. But anything is possible. I guess they could draft a quarterback next year in the 2nd round. Do I think that's going to happen? No. I think Daniel Jones is going to be the quarterback in 2023. And I think fans better get that through their heads. Maybe my opinion will change in 7 weeks. I don't think it's going to. Number 8 will be suiting up in 2023. But I wanted to play that clip for you guys because I got a bit amped up when I heard what Joe Judge had to say. As always, guys, if you like what you watch, please subscribe. Drop a comment. Maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.